No one saw this coming. After 19 years of what many called Hollywood's golden marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban have gone their separate ways. Their split shook fans, friends, and the entertainment world alike. From the outside, they seemed like the perfect pair. Red carpet appearances dripping with glamour, tender family moments captured by the media, and a love story that seemed immune to the usual Hollywood drama. But behind closed doors, tensions had been simmering, and the end finally came with Nicole filing for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. For nearly 2 decades, their lives were intertwined in ways fans could only admire. Keith and Nicole were often seen supporting each other at movie premieres, award shows, and charity events. They built a family together, and their public displays of affection made them icons of a stable, enduring celebrity marriage. But as fans pored over every Instagram post and interview, some began to notice subtle cracks, quiet mentions of personal struggles, glimpses of tension, and hints that not everything was as picture-perfect as it appeared. The news of the divorce broke, and it hit like a shockwave. Fans flooded social media with disbelief, sadness, and a sense of betrayal. How could a marriage that looked so solid crumble so suddenly? Friends of the couple were equally stunned, sharing that the split was amicable in conversation but emotionally heavy, especially after sharing almost 2 decades of life together. Legal filings confirmed the separation, detailing custody arrangements and plans to move forward separately, but leaving much of the emotional story untold. Media outlets began speculating about what went wrong. Was it distance, career pressures, personal differences finally coming to the surface? Some insiders suggested that the pressures of life in the public eye, constant scrutiny, rumors, and the expectations of fans may have played a role. Others hinted at personal disagreements and misaligned priorities that had been building for years, quietly eroding the foundation of a marriage that once seemed unbreakable. Yet despite the heartbreak, both Keith and Nicole have shown remarkable grace. Nicole, at 58, is focusing on her healing, supported by friends and fellow celebrities who have rallied around her during this challenging time. Keith, meanwhile, faces the difficult task of adjusting to a life without the partner he shared nearly 20 years with. And as the dust settles, the story doesn't just end with heartbreak. It opens the door to new chapters, unexpected friendships, and as rumors suggest, even the possibility of romance in places no one expected. In Hollywood, where relationships are often scrutinized down to the smallest detail, a high-profile divorce like this never stays quiet for long. Every post, every public appearance, and every gesture is analyzed, dissected, and turned into speculation. And that's exactly what makes this story so gripping. The perfect mix of love lost, public fascination, and the tantalizing question, what happens next? Just when the headlines were all about heartbreak and shock, an unexpected name entered the story: Jennifer Lopez. Known for her high-profile career, glamour, and of course her own very public romances, J.Lo has recently been navigating the aftermath of her own split from Ben Affleck. Their reunion had lasted 2 years, filled with red carpet appearances and media attention, but it ended earlier this year, leaving her heart still tender from the breakup. And according to insiders, it was precisely this shared experience of pain that prompted her to reach out to Keith Urban. Reports suggest that the moment Jennifer heard about Nicole and Keith's split, she picked up the phone. She didn't call for attention or to make a headline. She called as a friend, someone who knew exactly what it felt like to be in the spotlight while your heart was hurting. The gesture was simple: check in, offer support, and remind him that he wasn't alone. But in Hollywood, even the simplest gestures rarely stay private, and soon whispers began spreading that there might be more to their connection than just kindness. What makes this connection particularly intriguing is the history between Keith and Jennifer. Their paths first crossed during their time on American Idol, where Keith was a judge and Jennifer a guest mentor. Backstage and on set, the two shared countless laughs, playful banter, and moments of genuine camaraderie. Fans remember clips of the duo joking around, teasing each other, and building a rapport that felt effortless. Insiders now say that same easy chemistry has resurfaced as they navigate life after their respective divorces. The kind of connection that looks casual but carries years of unspoken understanding, and Hollywood loves a story like that. Sources close to both stars describe Jennifer's outreach as a combination of empathy and instinct. She knew Keith was vulnerable, feeling isolated as public attention focused heavily on Nicole. Many friends had sided with Nicole, which left Keith in a difficult position, navigating grief in front of cameras, media speculation, and fan scrutiny. Jennifer, having been through the same intense public heartbreak, reportedly understood better than most and reached out purely from a place of emotional intelligence. Yet the optics of their interaction, private calls, shared laughs, and supportive gestures have inevitably sparked curiosity and speculation. While some dismiss it as just friendly support, the chemistry between them is undeniable. Observers say that whenever they meet, there's a spark, a playful tension that wasn't entirely gone from their Idol days. It's the kind of dynamic that Hollywood media loves to dissect, a blend of nostalgia, vulnerability, and the tantalizing possibility of romance. Every message, every encounter, every laugh fuels speculation. Could a friendship born out of empathy turn into something deeper? And yet, despite the gossip, there's no confirmation, no public acknowledgement beyond the simple human connection of two people supporting each other in tough times. But the stage is set, the cameras are watching, and every move they make, however small, is being analyzed by fans, insiders, and the media alike. alike. In Hollywood, friendship and romance often dance dangerously close, and Jennifer Lopez stepping into Keith's life could be the beginning of a story that no one saw coming. What started as a simple act of kindness quickly became the fuel for Hollywood gossip. Friends and insiders have been observing Keith Urban and Jennifer Lopez closely, noting that their renewed friendship seems to carry something more than casual support. The two reportedly spent hours catching up over calls and texts, laughing about old American Idol memories and sharing stories about life after divorce. These moments, while innocent on the surface, have sparked speculation among fans and media alike. Could this be the start of a new romance? Sources describe their dynamic as playful, warm, and incredibly familiar. During their time on Idol, Keith and J.Lo developed a chemistry that went beyond professional courtesy. They would tease each other, share inside jokes, and often be caught smiling in ways that suggested a bond deeper than friendship. Now, as adults who have experienced heartbreak, that same connection appears to have resurfaced with added layers of empathy and understanding. In Hollywood terms, it's exactly the kind of spark that tabloids and fans eat up. Social media hasn't helped quell the rumors. Every shared smile or friendly interaction between the two is dissected by fans and reporters. Comments flood in on Instagram and Twitter, speculating about secret dates, flirty messages, and inside jokes that look like more than friendship. Even small gestures like Jennifer checking in after a concert or Keith sending a thoughtful message in return are interpreted as hints of romance. The internet thrives on this kind of storytelling. The lines between support and something deeper blur, and suddenly a friendship becomes headline news. But it's not just fans creating the buzz. Insiders say that even people close to the stars have noticed a shift in energy. Where there was once purely professional camaraderie, there now seems to be a subtle flirtation, a warmth, a familiarity that wasn't strictly necessary for friendship. Some suggest that the emotional vulnerability both are experiencing makes them more open to connection, a classic Hollywood scenario where timing and circumstance align to create the perfect storm for romance. Still, despite the growing speculation, nothing has been confirmed. Both Keith and Jennifer have remained professional and private about their interactions, avoiding public appearances together that could fuel the gossip further. That ambiguity is exactly what keeps the story alive, letting fans imagine scenarios, connect dots, and debate endlessly over what's real and what's just rumor. Hollywood thrives on this tension. The possibility that two high-profile stars might cross the line from friendship into romance is irresistible content, and perhaps that's the point. In a world where relationships are constantly under the microscope, even the tiniest spark between two famous people can ignite headlines and fan theories. For Keith and Jennifer, what started as empathy and support may very well evolve into a deeper bond, or it may remain a comforting friendship. Either way, the rumors themselves tell a story of connection, shared vulnerability, and the tantalizing uncertainty that keeps everyone watching, waiting, and wondering what happens next. While rumors of romance swirl, there's another side to this story that can't be ignored: the possibility that Jennifer Lopez and Keith Urban's renewed connection is purely platonic. Hollywood loves to exaggerate relationships, and insiders say that what the public sees isn't always the full story. According to sources close to both stars, Jennifer's outreach to Keith was motivated by empathy and understanding, not romantic interest. Having endured her own high-profile breakup with Ben Affleck, J.Lo reportedly recognized how isolating and painful a public divorce can be, and she reached out simply to offer support, a friendly ear, and emotional guidance. Keith, on his end, is navigating a period of vulnerability. After nearly 2 decades of marriage ending, he faces not just personal heartbreak but public scrutiny. Friends of the couple have noted that many in Hollywood quickly sided with Nicole, leaving Keith with fewer people to lean on during this difficult period. Jennifer's willingness to connect and listen could be seen as a rare, genuine gesture of kindness, a reminder that in a world full of judgment and gossip, someone truly understands what he's going through. Observers also point out that their American Idol connection has always been warm and playful, but that doesn't automatically translate into romance. The duo's shared jokes, teasing, and laughter may simply reflect the bond they developed during their professional collaboration, a connection based on familiarity, respect, and a history of working closely together. These are the kinds of friendships that naturally resurface when both parties are going through significant life changes, and the public often misinterprets them as romantic chemistry. Social media and tabloids, of course, thrive on ambiguity. Every smile, every comment, and every casual interaction is dissected, magnified, and reframed as evidence of romance. But insiders caution against jumping to conclusions. They emphasize that there has been no public appearance or official acknowledgement suggesting anything beyond friendship. In fact, some say both Keith and J.Lo are intentionally keeping things private, aware of how easily gestures can be misconstrued in the public eye. Yet, this uncertainty is what makes the story so compelling. Fans are drawn to the tension between perception and reality. They watch for any hint that friendship might evolve into something more, knowing full well that in Hollywood, timing, circumstance, and emotion often blur the lines. This delicate balance between genuine support and public speculation creates a narrative that keeps audiences engaged, guessing, and coming back for updates. Ultimately, the case for platonic support is strong. Jennifer's actions can be explained entirely through empathy empathy, shared experience, and long-standing friendship. But Hollywood thrives on intrigue, and the public wants to believe that two charismatic, high-profile figures finding comfort in each other could naturally lead to something more. Whether or not that happens, the friendship itself is already a story worth watching, a testament to how compassion, understanding, and human connection can make headlines, even without romance. As the world watched Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's divorce unfold, whispers of a third party began to circulate, adding a layer of intrigue to an already dramatic story. Hollywood is no stranger to rumors, and while nothing has been officially confirmed, sources suggest that unexpected influences may have contributed to the end of their nearly two-decade marriage. Insiders hint at surprise elements behind the scenes, late-night meetings, unexplained tensions, and emotional strain that went largely unnoticed by the public. These whispers, whether true or exaggerated, add suspense and fuel fan speculation, making the story impossible to ignore. The media has been quick to pick up on subtle cues. Friends and close sources have described Nicole as feeling shocked, blindsided, and emotionally drained, as if someone had disrupted the delicate balance of her marriage. Meanwhile, Keith has reportedly been struggling with guilt, confusion, and a sense of isolation. The notion of a third party doesn't necessarily point to scandalous behavior, but in the eyes of Hollywood and its audiences, even the hint of interference can be sensationalized into a narrative filled with tension and betrayal. Fans have dissected every public appearance, every interview, and every social media post, looking for clues. Some reports suggest that small incidents, fleeting interactions with colleagues, unexplained phone calls, or subtle body language in public events may have been interpreted as signs of outside involvement. While none of these claims have been verified, the mere possibility of a hidden influence creates drama, suspense, and curiosity that keeps audiences glued to updates. This element of ambiguity is crucial. Hollywood thrives on uncertainty, and the idea that a marriage as long-standing as Keith and Nicole's could be disrupted by hidden dynamics is compelling storytelling. It adds a layer of tension that fuels speculation. Was the divorce solely a result of personal differences, or did outside influences accelerate the breakup? The lack of clear answers allows fans and media outlets to fill in the blanks, generating endless discussion, debate, and viral headlines. Adding to the drama is the emotional impact on both parties. Nicole is reportedly trying to maintain composure publicly, but friends describe her as hurt and cautious, wary of trusting too easily. Keith, meanwhile, is navigating a complex mix of grief, guilt, and vulnerability, a state that makes him more receptive to comfort from unexpected quarters. This creates fertile ground for stories like the one involving Jennifer Lopez, where empathy, support, and friendship could easily be reframed as potential romance in the eyes of the public. Ultimately, the shadow of a third party illustrates just how layered and unpredictable celebrity relationships can be. Even without confirmation, rumors and speculation drive engagement, keeping audiences invested in every twist and turn. For Keith and Nicole, the presence of unseen forces, real or imagined, adds drama, complexity, and emotional depth to their story. And for Hollywood watchers, it's precisely these shadows and unanswered questions that make every update irresistible. Life after a 19-year marriage is never simple. And for Keith Urban, the aftermath of his split from Nicole Kidman has been a period of reflection, vulnerability, and public scrutiny. Friends describe him as emotionally raw, navigating the kind of heartbreak that is magnified when your life is constantly under the lens of cameras and gossip columns. Concerts, interviews, and social media appearances all carry the weight of public expectation, and Keith has reportedly been feeling the strain of having to balance his personal grief with his professional obligations. Insiders say Keith has been spending more time alone, reflecting on the marriage, the divorce, and the choices that led him to this point. It's a mix of regret, nostalgia, and cautious optimism. Friends note that he often revisits old memories, vacations with Nicole, family milestones, and moments of genuine happiness, while simultaneously grappling with the realization that those chapters of his life are now closed. This emotional turbulence has made him more introspective, more guarded, and according to sources, more receptive to genuine connection when it appears. Enter Jennifer Lopez. The renewed bond between them reportedly provides Keith with emotional relief, someone who understands the unique pressures of public heartbreak. But the connection also highlights his vulnerability, making him more sensitive to the gestures and support of those who step into his life. For someone who has been publicly criticized or shunned in favor of Nicole during this time, Jennifer's outreach is described as a rare and comforting presence, offering empathy without judgment. The subtle interplay of trust, comfort, and shared understanding has fans speculating whether this support could evolve into something deeper. Despite the rumors, Keith remains private. He has avoided public displays that could be interpreted as flirtation or romance, choosing instead to focus on his music and personal healing. On stage, his lyrics sometimes hint at heartbreak, but he has asked fans not to read too much into them, emphasizing that his songs are artistic expressions rather than confessions. Yet, fans continue to dissect his performances, searching for emotional cues that might indicate his next move in love or life. Keith's friends also emphasize that he is taking his time. The divorce has left emotional scars that require patience, and he's reportedly wary of rushing into any new romantic romantic entanglements. The public speculation about Jennifer Lopez, while tantalizing, is secondary to his personal journey of healing, reflection, and self-discovery. However, the timing is undeniably dramatic. Two high-profile celebrities, both single, both recovering from high-profile splits, and both capable of offering empathy, laughter, and comfort. It's a scenario Hollywood thrives on, a narrative of potential romance, emotional recovery, and the unpredictability of human connection. Ultimately, Keith's life post-divorce is a delicate balance of grief, hope, and cautious optimism. Each day presents new challenges, from managing public perception to reconnecting with himself. And while no one can predict the future, the presence of Jennifer Lopez in his life, as a friend, confidant, or perhaps something more, adds a layer of intrigue that keeps fans watching, guessing, and invested. For Keith, this chapter is still unfolding, and every step he takes offers the possibility of a new beginning, a fresh connection, and a story that could redefine how Hollywood sees him in the wake of Heart. So what happens next in this tangled Hollywood narrative? That's the question everyone is asking. Keith Urban and Jennifer Lopez have captured the public's imagination not just because of their pasts, but because of the tantalizing uncertainty surrounding their connection. Fans are glued to every update, every rumor, and every subtle social media post, trying to figure out whether this friendship might evolve into something more, or whether it will remain a comforting bond built on empathy, laughter, and shared heartbreak. In Hollywood, timing is everything. The emotional vulnerability of two high-profile stars, freshly navigating life after divorce, creates a perfect storm for speculation. Keith, having spent nearly 20 years in a marriage that ended painfully, is at a crossroads. Jennifer, likewise, is still processing her own very public breakup from Ben Affleck. Both are acutely aware of the pressures and pitfalls of dating under the spotlight, yet the connection they share is undeniable. Insiders note that their interactions carry a warmth, familiarity, and subtle spark that goes beyond what one might expect from a simple friendship. The chemistry is there, and Hollywood watchers are waiting to see if it ignites. The media and fans are not shy about adding fuel to the fire. Every friendly text, backstage conversation, or private meeting is dissected again, and turned into headlines suggesting romance. Tabloids thrive on uncertainty, and in this case, the ambiguity works in their favor. There are no confirmed dates, no public appearances together, and no official announcements, yet the tension is palpable. That very uncertainty keeps the story alive and the audience engaged, as everyone speculates about what the next move might be. Of course, the possibility of romance is only one angle. There's still a very real chance that their connection remains strictly platonic. Jennifer's gestures could simply be rooted in empathy, kindness, and shared understanding, a safe harbor for two people healing from very public heartbreak. And for Keith, this period is also about self-reflection, personal growth, and rediscovering life outside of a long marriage. That makes the next steps unpredictable and even more compelling. Will they remain friends, or will something more blossom? What makes this story so irresistible is the blend of human emotion and Hollywood spectacle. Fans are drawn to narratives that combine vulnerability, intrigue, and the thrill of possibility. In this case, it's heartbreak, support, lingering chemistry, and unanswered questions, all elements of a story that keeps people watching, commenting, and sharing. Every small gesture, every smile, and every interaction between Keith and J.Lo is scrutinized, fueling endless speculation and anticipation for the next chapter. Ultimately, the future of Keith Urban and Jennifer Lopez's relationship remains a mystery, and that's exactly why everyone is hooked. Could friendship evolve into Hollywood's next power couple? Will their bond remain a tender, platonic connection? Or is there a surprise twist waiting just around the corner? One thing is certain. In Hollywood, when two charismatic, high-profile stars reconnect under such charged circumstances, the story is never truly over. Fans will be watching closely, eager to see what happens next, and one small hint could send the speculation into overdrive. Whatever unfolds, this chapter is proving to be one of the most talked-about stories of the year, a tale of heartbreak, empathy, and the tantalizing possibility of new beginnings.